AITA for telling my husband my daughter doesn't have to accommodate his needs? My daughter is a second year in college, and although she lives at the dorms, during finals she comes home to learn quietly. My husband, not her bio dad, has changed jobs and works full-time from home now. I go to work from the office every day, so they're in the house by themselves. They've always gotten along fairly good. There's respect, understanding and trust from each other's part. I don't know if there's love, but I can't push it. Husband met daughter too late to represent a father figure for her, and she never seeked him like that, so he didn't push it. Lately, my daughter complained that husband would put her to work. In disregard of the fact that she's learning, she would stay in her room to study, and at some point husband would knock saying, "Hey, I just had lunch. Could you please clean up the table? I'm starting a meeting." Or, "I spilled some water. Mind wiping it? I gotta focus on work." She told me she feels like he doesn't care about her learning time, and he doesn't acknowledge she is also working. She told me she wouldn't have minded if it was a one-time occurrence, but it has become a habit of his. To make sure of it, I ask daughter to not clean up next time he asks. I caught him red-handed this time. When I came home to the dirty table, I asked husband about it, and he said, "Well, daughter should have cleaned it up." Daughter said she didn't even had lunch today. They don't always eat together. Sometimes one is hungry and one is not, and she didn't have time to clean up the table. I jumped at my husband, telling him daughter has exams and came here to learn, not to clean up after him. He tried to defend himself, saying he had an urgent meeting. I told him he could have came to clean up afterwards and mentioned, "I know it's not the first time it's happening." My husband sighed and said he thought it's not a big deal for my daughter to spare a couple minutes to quickly put the dishes in the dishwasher or something like that. Daughter said that if he thinks it could be done so quickly, why didn't he do it? I had to break the argument and determine that everyone cleans up after themselves. Later, my husband told me in private that he felt like I humiliated him in front of my daughter. I told him to grow up and stop acting like daughter will pick up after his mess. He got upset. AITA? NTA. Don't even think of the interrupting her while she studies. Just the audacity of your husband making a mess when he has lunch or anything, and then he can't be bothered to clean it up and demands she does it. What does he do when she's not there? Absolutely NTA. NTA, your husband is an adult and can do these things himself. I assume your daughter does them for herself? When your daughter isn't home, what does he do? Bet he cleans up after himself then, right? My read on this is a combination of, she's younger than me and she's female, so she has to do these things because I asked, though I could be wrong on that. NTA. And you need to ask why he thinks it's okay to treat your daughter as his servant. Up. You need to have a chat with your husband and ask him what he would have done if daughter wasn't there, if he had dirtied some dishes or spilled water on the counter. Would he have waited for you to come home? Or would he have done the responsible thing and did the job? She is not a maid or a housekeeper. He's a grown-ass man that can clean up after himself. NTA. Wow, NTA, your husband is being very sexist and entitled. Why should your daughter clean up his mess? That's crazy. So NTA. Thank you for standing up for your daughter. He's a grown man, and I question your statement that there's respect there. He obviously doesn't respect her or her priorities. He's trying to take advantage of free labor. NTA. Why can't he spare a few minutes to clean up his own mess before his meeting? Why your daughter is home is completely irrelevant. He needs to learn to clean up after himself. He's an adult. NTA. He was pulling a power play and he says you embarrassed him? No, he embarrassed himself. Watch out for subtle microaggressions from him to your daughter. He's not happy she comes to your home. NTA. Your daughter is not your husband's maid, and I don't know where he gets off treating her that way. That's some misogynistic BS right there. He embarrassed himself by asking your daughter to coddle him and clean up after him. NTA. You are what I call a good parent. He is fully capable of cleaning up his own messes. If he doesn't want to, then he can just not make messes. Your daughter isn't his personal maid. She has responsibilities of her own and shouldn't have to set her study time aside to clean up after the poor helpless man. NTA. Husband probably isn't too far off from pushing daughter into just not coming home anymore. Why would she if she's just going to be expected to turn into Cinderella every time? NTA. His behavior is gross and misogynistic, and he needs to get his head right because it's a weird, domineering, controlling flex to dictate that she stop what she is doing to clean up after him. A grown, able-bodied adult because he deems his time and priorities more important? Don't let this slide. He should be humiliated that he did such a weird, unnecessary thing. NTA. And your daughter is fine. You husband is a huge full of himself misogynistic When I say, accommodate his needs, though she was being loud while he took work calls or something, which would be on her and you. This is so far the other way it's ridiculous. Is your husband this much a control freak baby with you too? Definitely not the That's extremely weird and misogynistic. That's good that they are comfortable enough around each other, but the fact that she's technically a guest in the house negates her from doing anything besides cleaning up after herself. Obviously, if she wanted to do more, that is up to her, but it's completely inappropriate if your husband to ask her to clean up after him. If they were eating together and he asked her to grab his dishes also, that's one thing, but hey, I spilled water and need you to clean it up? That is not okay. NTA. Great, you stood up for your daughter. Nothing more to say about it really. NTA. Obviously your husband doesn't respect your daughter that much is clear. But the thing I just can't get over, if he's so pressed for time, how does he have time to go to your daughter's room and have a conversation about cleaning up his lunch? I don't care how small your house. He's using his time to direct someone else to clean up after him instead of just using that time to do it himself. But even if he has a logic-based reason for it, he can just clean it up after he's done work. He is bending over backwards to turn your daughter into his maid. Also, how much of a mess is he making with lunch? Is he cooking full meals, or does he just need to clear dishes and wipe the crumbs off a table? And if he's so pressed for time, how does he have time to cook, and why can't he just eat at the counter? NTA times a million. Why? Because your husband doesn't respect your daughter. He's trying to treat her like a live-in maid. Cleaning up after his lunch? He spilled water and she needs to clean it up? Oh hell no. If this continues, your daughter will opt out of coming to your home because she will feel unsafe and uncomfortable. Your husband is the biggest of today. NTA. He can accommodate his own needs. It makes no sense to me that your husband is asking your daughter to clean up after his messes. NTA. Nor is your daughter. Your husband, on the other hand, is being a huge It's not a big deal for someone else to clean up. But for him to do it? OMG. He's busy. Good on you for putting your foot down and sticking up for your daughter. Info. How did everything magically get cleaned up before your daughter was there? Did he call you at work to come home because he made a mess? Or was he a big boy who could look after himself?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.